What's up, everybody? We are back. Weekly Q&A. This time we're coming from halfway around the world. La Paz, Mexico. My latest town. We're in my backyard here, my front yard. I guess it's all perspective. And got some cool questions for you guys today, so let's get into it. By the way, my live video says I've been going an hour and 13 minutes, but I very much doubt that is the case. So Wayne asked, my man Wayne B here, just curious, do you ever offer upfront free leads to a potential client to get their attention? I've heard offer something of value up front and makes the close much easier down the road, or just focus on the good offer or case by case scenario. Wayne, to be honest with you, probably all three of them depending on the scenario. So if there's somebody that you think is going to make a really, really awesome client, I don't think it's ever a bad idea to send them a couple of free leads. It's also to your benefit, because one of the things I found, especially in your niche you mentioned before, is contractors. Contractors can be like really shit at closing leads, and the few that are really good are like golden opportunities for you. So part of sending them free leads is not just to get their attention, but it's to see for you if they're actually going to make somebody that's going to make a good long-term partner and a good fit for you. Because if you generate a bunch of business for them and they don't answer the phone, they don't call people back, or they say stupid things when people do call, you're going to find out the hard way. Yes, you can also make that stronger with a better offer. And I tell you, the simplest thing you can do to make your offer stronger is to offer what I call the $100 leads. The more expensive, more valuable types of things. So I don't know what that is, but like in the roofing niche, for example, a big commercial roof or a full, complete, brand new roof is more valuable than, say, fixing a leak. So if you bring them leak repair leads, they feel very differently about that. So yeah, I'm all for all of those combinations. Andrew, what is a necessity for you when looking for a potential client? Do they already need to have a working customer database, installed pixels, actionable offer, thank you offers, etc.? What do you look for? What is an instant red flag? I'll answer that in reverse, Andrew. The red flag, the biggest red flag, by the way, is attitude. Like if clients just like really douchey attitude to you and your staff and your people or whatever, it's not going to change the longer you work with them. So attitude is by far the biggest one that you're going to like want to push people away. Like I've had like, in the bad client department, had people who like really just talk down to you and talk down to your staff. So that's like one of the red flags you're going to want to look for. Now, as far as what to look for in a client, the biggest thing, right, is that you're looking for is like, can you actually help this person consistently? So if they're having success on their own, that's usually a good sign. Like when I take on people in the agency coaching thing, I love like, beginners and stuff too, but I don't usually take on beginners just because for that reason they haven't like been successful themselves doing it. So that's the first thing. Do they have offers that are working? Do they have happy customers? Are they delivering on the promises they're making? Those are usually really good signs, and I tend to personally stay away from like one-man shows because they're usually the hardest ones to help. So like I look for, is it like a more established business? Because Dan Kennedy says, what we do, and it's hard to wrap your head around because you want to help everybody and you really care about people and we kind of want to save businesses, but we don't turn losers into winners. We help winners kind of fly faster. And so I look for signs that, the client's already winning already. Dan, I'm in the process of building a small team and trying to grow from a freelancer to an agency. I'm struggling with SOPs. SOPs, for those of you guys who don't know, stands for Standard Operating Procedures. I've made a good start, but would love to see a decent SOP for local SEO and happy to pay for an SOP. Alternately, can you recommend where I can find SOPs for local SEO online? I'm struggling to find anything. Part of that, Dan, is everybody does SEO a little bit different, right? So you're not going to necessarily be able to like just get somebody's template for the perfect SEO. Like for me, I had a few of my own kind of like secret link building techniques that you just couldn't find and outsource. SEO is, by the way, one of the hardest services to build your SOP library for, because there's just a lot of moving pieces. But like, get it dialed in as best you can, as best you humanly can. And the best thing I would say is like, rather than trying to write them out in a document, like Loom has been a game changer for me, where you just kind of speak what is going on for you and like what you're trying to do. And so like the best thing you're trying to do is just clone yourself. So describe what you're doing and why you're doing it and record that and build a library of those things, and you'll have the best SOP library. Now, a pro tip that I'll give you that'll make your life whole easier is, as you start to scale up, moving pieces are the enemy to scale. Like the more custom moving pieces you're doing are like just in every way the opposite to scale. So think about things that you can eliminate before you start doing all your SOPs. So part of the reason you may be having challenges with your SOPs is because you just got too many moving pieces you need to eliminate. And if you get rid of those, you'll find life gets a whole lot easier. Chris, this weekend, I restarted an ad to a landing page with a form, traffic campaign, cold audience, getting a lot of clicks but no conversions. Client has a non-surgical hair restoration. Any tips to improve results? Chris, if you're getting clicks and then people aren't converting, the biggest thing that I've seen with that, and like 8 out of 10 times this is the case, is what they're clicking on and what you're saying on that page are not congruent. So like I'll give you an example. Like I got retargeted by like it wasn't quite completely cold, but I got retargeted by like some kind of travel company for something I had looked at, and they showed like, hey, you're interested in this, and I think it was like a hotel or something. And then I clicked on the ad, and instead of bringing me to the hotel, they brought me to the company's homepage, where then I would have to search it and find it and dig it, and by then I'm just like, I bounce. So if your clicks are like clicking but not bouncing, there's usually almost always a disconnect between those two things. And so you want to look at your landing page like pretty long and hard, and that's kind of a little bit high school humor, but look at it long and hard, brother. Abby, so my account was just hacked and I was removed as an admin of my business manager. I'm able to log in as other people and access the BM, but they have changed their access settings to only employee access, so I can't add myself again as an admin. All verified business info has been removed. I have about 50 active campaigns running. I'm currently chatting with Facebook, but has this happened to you? Any advice? Yes, it has happened to me, Abby. It's a real pain in the ass. And you just got to submit the appeal to Facebook and wait. It took me about a month to get mine back and get control, because they're like, well, we need to prove that you were the admin and blah, blah, blah. In the future, I think adding 2-factor authentication to your business manager will be useful, so nobody else can do that again so easily. But yeah, it's going to take a while, but they will eventually restore it if you stay on top of them. Priya, what's the best targeting when looking for motivated sellers, distressed properties for real estate investors? Do you add interest like Zillow, Trulio? What's the average CPL for distressed properties in Texas? Priya, nobody's going to be able to tell you the average for distressed properties in an area, because it's just going to vary by area to area, and there's too many factors. How many other people are competing against you, and how often have they heard that same message? So, you know, just look for numbers that work for you. But having said that, I don't know if there's a way to target people for that, but there's a way to call them out in the copy. And I found like the 3 biggest reasons, for example, that people are motivated: lost a job, got divorced, or medical reasons, like, you know, somebody died or somebody got really sick. So those 3 things are things you can call out in the copy. And of course, be gentle with that, because you know how it sounds like you're using Facebook, and Facebook kind of hates when you say like, are you destroyed? But those are the 3 reasons. So you're probably not going to be able to target them, but you can call them out in the copy, and that's just as good. In a lot of ways, your copy and your ad is like a bouncer to your nightclub, and you want to have like the bouncer screen so the right people get in. My man Barnesy, personally, I like long web pages when everything is on one page rather than having to go to separate pages. How does Google feel about this? Barnesy, this has just been my experience. I'm not saying this is necessarily the right answer, but Google tends to like real web pages over real websites with multiple pages over a single long page. I'm with you. I prefer to just get everything on one page. But if you're doing it specifically for ranking, I would probably tell you to build it in a site and chunk down that information. I know people tell you if you match search intent, but it's been really many years since I've been personally able to rank just like a single website. I think it's a harder journey. So yeah, I would build a website around that if the point of it is for SEO. My man Oral, how do you agency experts prevent employees stealing and using the systems checklist SOP when leaving? So I noticed, by the way, you asked this in a couple of groups, and you said you liked my answer, so I kind of wanted to expand on this a little for you. Is that what I found is, to be honest, like even if you gave somebody the keys to your entire castle, like your SOPs and everything you're doing, there's still challenges. Business still has curveballs, and there's things that are going to come up. And being an entrepreneur means that you got to face those challenges and rise up to. And most employees can be really awesome people, but like most people are just not built to be entrepreneurs and to do this kind of lifestyle. It's too hard. There's too many challenges, too many things that can go wrong. There's just too much difficulty with it. So I found I've hired probably 1,000 different freelancers and I don't know, hundreds of employees. And I found that not once has somebody even tried to take my stuff, let alone, and part of it may just be like treating people well and getting the right people. And I'm not saying those aren't factors, but for real, like you could hand somebody the entire keys to your castle and they probably still wouldn't know what to do with it. And even if you gave them everything, there's changes, right? Like Facebook is changing and new stuff comes up. Yeah, the German grayness has gone indeed. They have a saying in America, pray the gay away, and we prayed the gray away, and it works. So, but yes, I found that it's not usually a big deal. And then the other thing is usually employees are working on their own compartmentalized piece anyway, so they don't necessarily see the big picture. And like I said, most people aren't entrepreneurs. They don't want to like push further. What they want is like, you know, a well-defined job and a steady paycheck and someone who's going to be kind to them. And if you do those things, what you'll find is like, I'm just saying it's been my experience. I've never had a single employee or contractor or freelancer try and steal my shit. And even if they did, you know, I'm adding and improving my system too often for them to even steal it, right? Like, you know, every 3 months I'm going to like improve and improve and improve and improve. So even if they stole it, they would only have the old version of it anyway. So I don't think it's as much of an issue as it might seem. Hussein. So once I send an email to a business asking if they can do a certain service and they reply back saying yes, what should I say exactly after? Like, what is the exact words I should use? I hear a crying Heidi B. I might have to do some parenting here in the moment. We're still a little screwed up on our time zones here. So what do you say when you get a positive response? Well, easy is just offer them the thing they said they can do. And to make this most successful is to do it in a way where what you're offering them is what they most want. Like the types of clients in business. Heidi Bina. Okay. All right. I thought I had a parenting moment, but my lady's on it. And Peppa Pig is on it. So anyway, it's not super complicated. So like, for example, like if I reach out to an injury lawyer and I say, can you handle any more motorcycle cases? And he says, yes. Then I say, would you be interested in getting more motorcycle cases? I'd like to send you a little video that explains how we can get them to you. Would you be interested in that? So it doesn't need to be super complicated. The biggest thing I think people make is they do different things online than you would do in person. Meaning like they try to send one message that's going to just make somebody take out their credit card. And that's not like how relationships work in the real world. You know, like they'll say, hey, we have greatest service, contact here. If you're interested, here are our prices. But you would never do that if you met somebody in person. Like if you were at a networking event, you wouldn't say, hey, we are the greatest, whatever. You would say things like, hey, what do you guys do? Oh, you handle motorcycle cases. I actually do motorcycle cases. Would you be interested in hearing more about that? Right? So like you want to mirror the process that like works in real life. I usually find if you think about it, like how would I approach this person if I was standing next to them, you'll be far better than how most people are like looking for the secret message online. Got another one from Wayne B. Would you believe this? My first client landed recently. I got him literally 97 leads in 30 days. By the way, good job on that, brother. Not just little handyman jobs, but large jobs with 80% margins at $7,500 plus dollars. He even told me that he closed one commercial job for $90K. No kidding. I read a book from another famous agency coach saying to send the new clients a fancy gift basket after they sign up and they will stay forever. No, they don't. This guy was previously spending over $5K a month to get 2 to 4K leads a week in his own campaigns. I charged him $2,500 plus $1K was his Google Bing ad spend, $3,500, way more leads. Life was great, or at least one me would think. The customer bailed after 30 days and ignored all invoice requests. What the fuck? I have been a contractor myself. I recorded all his calls and his requests for bids. Even a shitty closer would have closed 50 of the 97 leads. That's like $300K in revenue, absolute worst. He even asked me for another 14 days to collect the money on jobs I provided him before paying his $2,500 bill was now due. I didn't make this easy for him as I don't want to come off docile and weak, thinking if he did, I would control He would control all future payments and when they would occur, instead of a reliable MRR for my company that I wanted. But after telling me and pleading on a call and steady assurance how he agreed to pay me like our original arrangement, $2,500 plus ad spend per month, etc., I agreed some more times very regretfully. Come to find out, this guy's a major gambler at casinos and has bad reviews for scamming his customers. Not sure if this is why I got screwed over. Did I really land a first shitty client, or did I do something wrong? Totally perplexed and licking wounds. Someone pat me on the back and tell me it's going to be all okay. All right, that's a mouthful, Wayne. Okay, so I'm not laughing at you. I've experienced stuff like that, so I have there's humor in that for me. First thing, my brother, is it does sound like you got a shitty client, and I'll tell you why. There's two red flags that jump out at me. If the person's like got gambling problems and they have bad reviews about clients, usually like where there's smoke, there's fire. I'm not saying that everybody ever who got bad reviews is a bad person or a bad client, but those two things tell me they've probably screwed people in the past. And this is one of the reasons why I'm really big in our agency model on doing first dates. Because the worst thing you can do is commit to a client like that for 6 months, then you chase them for invoices. I mean, it sounds like the first thing, you don't want to chase anybody for money. You're doing a good job, you're providing them the value, and then of course, I think you should lower your standards a little bit for what you think you would close as a contractor and what these people will close, because you're going to find out most of them don't know how to do it. But use this as a tool to tighten your criteria, because it sounds like when you get into a niche, and I've talked about this in our masterminds a little bit, is when you get into a niche, the idea is, at first, we usually think as big as possible. Like, I want to work with everybody. And the problem with like wanting to work with everybody is when you get into it, like most people aren't going to build an agency of more than 100 clients. Like usually that's about as max as you're going to go. Like, some people do have bigger goals, but most people who want lifestyle agencies, you're just never going to have more than 100 clients at once, which means it's actually a very narrow group of people. You're not in like a mass market where you're Starbucks trying to get 8,000 people. And so one of the first things is like, I would put in a rule, like I don't chase people for money and tell them the client on day one. So like, if you're happy with this, I expect you to pay your invoices in a timely fashion and let me know. As well, I expect you to be able to close things. If you're not able to close them and you need help, like we can talk about those things and we can solve those problems. But I expect you to be able to do your job when I'm bringing you business. I expect you to treat people well, right? Like it sounds like if they've got bad reviews, that's like because you're not going to feel good about generating business for somebody who then like does a bad job. And like I said earlier in the show, we tend to think of ourselves as like saviors. We're going to go in and save a business, but in actuality, what we really do is we don't turn losers into winners. We help winners win more. And so what you want to do is look for like all the signs that this business is already winning and already doing well and already treating people well, and something that you would feel good about promoting. Like if this was your own business, would you be proud to tell people about it? And so the one positive that I mentioned that comes out of that is you're going to get a really bitchin' case study where you can, for the next one, show here's what I did for another contractor, and you can show real results. Vaughn, what's generated the most consistent booked appointments for your agency? Vaughn, that's a simple question with a little bit of a complicated answer. The complicated answer is webinars and VSLs through Facebook ads. But, and this is the big but, is I've never started with those. And the first thing you got to do when you enter any niche to like get like really consistent regular appointments is you got to find out what like the real issues and the real problems that your market has, because they don't relate to what we're selling. They relate to the problem that they're experiencing in their world as they see it. And too oftentimes we sell the solution instead of a way out of the problem. And I'll give you a simple example. You talk to enough lawyers, they'll tell you the same thing. They'll say, I need more clients. And then you say, why? And then they'll say, well, I have roller coaster income. And you say, what do you mean roller coaster income? And they'll say, well, I get most of my business from referrals. I got a couple of people who send me business, and one month I get $40,000 in business. Next month, nobody calls me, and I don't know this month whether I'll make 40 grand or zero, and it's really, really stressful. And then you learn what he's trying to buy his way into or out of is that lack of control, right? Like where he doesn't know whether his referrals are going to come in for this month. And so when you understand that, all of your solution is positioned around that kind of thing. And so it's impossible to know that without having conversations with these people. So what I do in the beginning is I look for what I call the fastest path to buying conversations, which is just to literally just have messages with people. And I don't typically do this forever. I just look for like, hey, if I'm trying to sell to lawyers, let's go talk to lawyers, and you can do that within the hour. By the way, you can do that within 10 minutes. Is get conversations going, and then you use that data to then build the webinar or the VSL and run the ads too. But I never begin with ads. Because personally, this is just my philosophy. I don't like to just gamble money on ads without knowing what I'm doing with it. So I like to know that like it's going to work before I hit play. So that's kind of my personal strategy. Josh, do you have any client horror stories? Only a few, Josh. I'll tell you one that just jumps to mind. I had a guy in Kansas City, and he was an attorney who, and at this point, like in our agency, we've got like, dozens of client, maybe 50, I don't know. And I'm not dealing with any clients one-to-one, right? Like our agency's grown enough. We have customer service people and we have sales people. So I'm like, but he specifically requested that I call him. So I said, okay, because I'm the one in the webinar and he's seen my face. So I call him, and I remember I got stuck on like 7 or 10 minutes of hold music. Thank you for calling, blah, blah, blah. Your call is important to us. So I get one of those stupid hold musics. And then when they went to transfer me after the hold music, it hung up on me. And then, of course, then I tried calling back, and I got the same 7-minute hold music, and I finally got through, and I said, okay, job number one, buddy, is fix that fucking hold music, because I can send you all the leads in the world, but if people got to wait 10 minutes and get hung up on, you're not going to have too many, what's up, Brother Rob? I see you, my man. So anyway, so listening to the hold music. And then I remember we actually did a heroic job. We got him like consistent phone calls for like $10 a piece, which in the personal injury space is like magical. And at the end of the month, he asked me to call him again, and I thought like I'm going to get the hero's welcome. And he tells me they're all bad leads, every single one of them. And of course, when I called, I got the stupid voicemail, hold, your call is important to us. Press 1 if you would like to do this. Press 2. And I said, remember at the beginning of the month, and he actually wanted to press legal charges against me for all bad leads. And I said, and of course, the client's lying when they say they're all bad leads, because they can't tell you why they're bad leads. Like, were they unqualified? When you called, did people not answer? Like, give me some details about what made them bad leads. No, I talked to an independent expert and they're all bad leads. So shit like that happens. You just learn from it, and you learn to choose better clients in the first place. I don't think I could have salvaged that situation personally. I think it was just like there's bad clients out there, and you got to do a little more filtering for getting them. But yeah, so if you do a lot more like choosiness up front, you'll avoid people like that. But some of that you're going to make mistakes along the way, and forgive yourself when that kind of stuff happens. So that's all I got for you guys this week on the we're going to head down to the beach. It's hot as balls here, and I love it. And I'm going to post a replay of this on YouTube. And if you're not already subscribed on YouTube, because I'm about to do some like really, really cool shit for you guys, where we're going to reveal like kind of like the bigger untold secrets of running an agency on the inside. And you get to hang with me just walking with my family doing some talking. So I'm going to end the video here, and I'll post the replay. Much love to you guys, and may the force be with you, and Viva Mexico.